You are listening to Huddling with the Herd on KYNT, a weekly recap of Yankton High School athletics. Huddling with the Herd is brought to you in part by Mount Marty University, At the Bar, FNBO, Avera, Parker Hannafin, Olson's Pest Technicians, Farmers Union Insurance, SWAT Chiropractic and Rehab, Rhonda Westland State Farm Insurance, Vision Care Associates, Explorers Credit Union, Slowy Management, Mason Schramm and the Move Group, MT&RC Smith Insurance, Triple Time Rudy's, Vision Real Estate, First Dakota National Bank, Yankton Medical Clinic, the UPS Store, Hy-Vee, First Chiropractic Centers, Pizza Ranch, and Missouri River Associates. Now, broadcasting live from KYNT Studios, it's Huddling with the Herd with KYNT Sports Director Brayden Butler.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are live. Good Saturday morning here on Huddling with the Herd on KYNT and streaming live on KYN-TV. That's 102.1 FM, AM 1450, and KYN-TV on YouTube, Facebook, and our mobile apps and Roku app as well. We got apps everywhere. You can watch KYN-TV from just about anywhere these days. So go out there and look us up, kyntv.com as well if you prefer a web browser. But Huddling with the Herd today, we got a great show. We're going to actually start things off after our first break with Tyler Schering of Yankton Gazelles Soccer, as he was named Girls Soccer Coach of the Year by the South Dakota High School Coaches Association. So congratulations to him. So we'll have that live in studio. Head coach Blake Savvy, assistant coach Jill Muth of the Yankton Gazelles basketball team, coming off of a busy week for them, 3 games over the last 4 days. They finally get a little bit of rest here on a Saturday. And then, of course, we'll break down the action from Bucks basketball last night as well. We'll hear the post-game interview from Chris Haynes. We'll hear from head coach Justin Olson of the Yankton Gazelles for the gymnastics program. He is up in Aberdeen because the ESD conference meet at Aberdeen Central High School today. Spoke to him over the phone about an hour ago to record a little ahead of time for today on KYNT and KYN-TV for Huddling with the Herd. And, of course, YHS Nation as well, talking about high school one-act play with Georgia Powell. So action-packed show today, plenty to break down. It's been another great week of Yankton activities around Yankton High School. We're going to come back in 2 minutes from our first break, and we'll hear from Tyler Schering of the Yankton Gazelles soccer program about the award he picked up, courtesy of the South Dakota High School Coaches Association. Also talked a little bit about the program. I know we're still about 7 months away, maybe 7.5 months away from soccer starting back up for Yankton High School, but still it's nice to check in and hear from Coach Schering. So that's coming up when we come back here on KYNT, KYN-TV. You are listening to Huddling with the Herd.
Looking for the perfect pair of glasses? At Vision Care Associates, we've got you covered. Step into our showroom and discover our vast selection from timeless classics to the latest trends. With several styles to choose from, you're sure to find the perfect match for your look. Experience personalized service and expert care, whether you need help finding the right frame or adjusting your new glasses for the perfect fit.
Vision Care Associates, where the health of your eyes comes first.
What if your next big adventure isn't somewhere out there, but already waiting for you at home? That kitchen remodel, a new addition, or that dream family getaway? Your home's equity can fuel it all. With a fixed-rate home equity loan from Explorers Credit Union, turn what you've built into where you're going next. Explorers Credit Union, we believe in helping you launch your next big adventure. Call 800-491-4309 and speak with a loan officer today. Explorers Credit Union, federally insured by NCUA.
At Mount Marty University, students get real support and real opportunities.
Hi, I'm Maya, and I'm a business major at Mount Marty University. The professors here at Mount Marty are just amazing. They're very good about supporting me through future internships and jobs that they try and line me up with, and they also provide real life experiences in the classroom through projects and speakers and things like that.
Start your journey online at mountmarty.edu.
At the Bar is the bar for sports fans. With coverage of NFL, college football favorites, Yankton High School action, and NHL hockey too. Open 7 days a week. Bring in your crew, grab a table, and take in all the action surrounded by fans who love the game as much as you do. The energy's better, the company's great, and the beverages are cold, just the way game day should be. You can watch the game anywhere, but real fans gather at the Bar. in downtown Yankton.
Welcome back here on KYNT and KYN-TV. This is Huddling with the Herd, and we're going to hear from head coach Tyler Schering of Yankton Gazelles Soccer. Was named the High School Girls Soccer Coach of the Year from the South Dakota High School Coaches Association. Congratulations once again to him. I got a chance to speak to him actually last night before the Bucks and Gazelles basketball doubleheader at Yankton High School. So there's going to be some background noise in this interview. Just be mindful of that. Buzzer goes off, I think, twice because it's between a quarter break during our interview, but just bear with it through that as we hear from head coach Tyler Schering about his honor, the award, and a little preview of how his team's looking in the offseason. Let's go to that interview now here on KYNT, KYN-TV. This is Brayden Butler here for KYNT, part of Huddling with the Herd today, even though we're speaking a night before the show with head soccer coach for the Yankton Gazelles, Tyler Schering. Everything's a little messed up for a winter Huddling with the Herd, but we're talking soccer because Coach Schering, you've been announced by the South Dakota High School Coaches Association as the Girls Soccer Coach of the Year. So first of all, congratulations for that, and get right into it. What does this honor mean to you to be named Coach of the Year?
You know, I won't lie. I thought it was a little bit of a surprise when I heard about it, but, you know, I'm thrilled. You know, it's nice to be recognized for the work you put in, but also the work that the team puts in, and the assistant coach, Kellen Mosier's done a great job. It's a team award. It really shows success and dedication from the program. So, yeah, it definitely feels great to be recognized.
It's a program that's been on the upswing consistently year after year, and I know you mentioned it already. It's a bit of a team award as well with how well your Gazelles have improved, but how does that feel as a coach to see that your team's growth is in a way recognized over the last few years?
Yeah, you know, it's great to see where the program's come over the last few years. On and off the field, you can really, you know, you can just see the camaraderie with the players off the field, and that really brings that chemistry and teamwork to the field. So all around, you know, I can't praise the work that the players have put in, off season, in season, everything they can do to continually make the program better, and it just makes the coaches look better.
A little off topic from the soccer program itself, but a couple of your soccer athletes, now key members of the basketball program here tonight. I was talking to assistant coach Joe Muth after the game against Huron. Eden Wolfgram played 32 minutes. Jocelyn Elwood had a lot of run on the floor as well, and she said those soccer players don't get tired. So is it nice as a coach to know they're still getting their conditioning in the offseason?
You know, the fitness with that group has never been an issue. I think they're going to be 10 years out of college, and they're still going to be as fit as anything. They just like to work, strive to be their best. So I got to give a lot of credit there.
Now, I know we're still months away from August for kickoff of the Gazelles high school season, but early on, what are some expectations and things that you want to see growth into another year with the team?
Yeah, I like the progress that the program's been making. I like where we're at right now. We do lose some key seniors, but we bring back a really good quality junior class next year. Unfortunately, we won't have a junior class next year just because we don't have any players out. So we're going to have to dig into the youth a little bit, into that sophomore, freshman, possibly 8th grade class. So I think we'll be competitive. I think our top 11 will be able to play with anybody in the state. It's just really over the next 8-9 months, we need to start building some depth to really help us compete against those bigger teams.
Youth movement has kind of been the name of the game for the Gazelles the last couple years. So you mentioned not having a junior class. Who from these younger classes may have stuck out already that people should keep an eye on?
You know, I think a lot of playing time this year, really. Michaela Rutschus and Kylie Bentley both got some really good playing time as freshmen this year. They ended up getting a lot of starts. So we're really going to be looking to them to play a big part as we move forward. You know, we've got some 8th graders that got some look out there. Willa Tacky had some really good playing time throughout the year, and we're going to look to see if she can continue to step up and provide some of that depth that we're looking for.
Coach, thanks for taking time to talk today about the Gazelles soccer program, and once again, congratulations, High School Girls Coach of the Year from the High School Coaches Association.
Thank you very much.
That was head coach Tyler Schering of the Yankton Gazelles here on KYNT and KYN-TV for Huddling with the Herd. Congratulations to him once again, being named Girls Soccer Coach of the Year by the South Dakota High School Coaches Association. We're going to go back to break here on KYNT and KYN-TV. When we return, we'll hear from head coach Blake Stavy and assistant coach Joe Muth talking about the Yankton Gazelles basketball team. That's coming up in a couple minutes here on KYNT, KYN-TV.
FNBO is the great big small bank. And for more than 165 years, we've been with you where you are. A bank that's ready for all your needs, both big and small. here to help you earn more, save more, so you can do more every step of the way. It's what you can expect from the great big small bank, FNBO, independent and family-owned for 6 generations, and ever so focused on you. Stop on by or visit us at fnbo.com, member FDIC.
From the first wails of surprise to first day of school questions, playground adventures, learning to drive stress, and graduation cheers, they'll always be your little sunshine. At Avera Children's, we get kids, teens, and parents too. We'll step you through first checkups, milestones, sickness, and specialized care when your child needs it, and treat them like our own every step of the way. Learn more at avera.org/children's.
Imagine paid vacation, sick leave, holidays, and full medical coverage the moment you start a new job. Plus quarterly profit sharing, 5% 401k match, and a company-paid retirement plan your first day on the job. With Parker of Yankton, you don't have to imagine, because all these benefits begin day one. We are hiring assemblers, material handlers, and line operation techs for both shifts. Don't mind working nights? Enjoy a pay differential of $235. If you're looking to upgrade your career and have day one benefits, apply today at parker.com.
Parker, engineering your success.
Rodents want to make your home their home. Pesky invaders go in search of warm housing and food for the winter. An invasion of rodents can be costly and can contribute to disease and contamination of products. So trust the experts to keep them out. Olson Pest Technicians is family-owned with over 80 years of experience. Even the toughest infestations don't stand a chance. Olson Pest Technicians, putting pests to rest since 1966. Call 800-KIL-BUGS.
In nearly every family's lineage, there's a tie to agriculture. It's a legacy reflected in how we raise our kids, help our neighbors, and respect what we have. Farmers Union Insurance was built on that legacy. And while our roots are in agriculture, our protection has grown to include home, auto, business, health, and life. Protect your legacy. Farmers Union Insurance.
Call Brendan Hansen and Brandon Tykrow or visit them at Suite 101B Morgan Square in Yankton.
If you've been suffering from chronic pain or a recent injury,
check us out, Lane, Reed, and Cole Sawatsky at SWAT Chiropractic and Rehab.
We offer a wide variety of treatments and techniques, including dry needling, cupping, chiropractic adjustments, and sports rehabilitation.
Our mission is to ensure an individualized and efficient treatment plan to get you back on your feet.
From ankle sprains and sports injuries to neck pain and headaches, we've got your back.
Give us a call or book an appointment on our website. SWAT Chiropractic, specialized wellness and therapy.
Located on Summit Street across from the high school.
Welcome back here on KYNT and KYN-TV for Huddling with the Herd. It's time to talk about Yankton Gazelles basketball. We have head coach Blake Savvy and assistant coach Jill Muth in the booth today to talk about the busy week for the Yankton Gazelles. Had a game Tuesday against the number 2 ranked team in the state in O'Gorman. Then you go a tough road matchup on Thursday against Huron. You're back home last night. It's the number 1 team in the state in Brandon Valley. So you guys have had a busy week, just kind of all-encompassing. How are you feeling after 3 games in 4 days for your squad?
Yeah, one, I'm happy that, we'll just start with we were able to get through it healthy, feeling good, and seeing a lot of really good stretches of basketball. We talked on Monday with the girls about when you go into a week like this, especially facing the top 2 teams in the state, we've got to define some wins early for ourselves and know what they are and make sure that they're controllable just as far as us. And so those 3 wins were break the press, find great shots, and play team defense. And, starting off Tuesday against O'Gorman, they jumped us from the start. And, you spot the number 2 team in the state, a 25-point lead. That's going to be tough. That being said, the girls did an absolutely great job bouncing back in the second quarter. Handled the press really well, used it to our advantage, attacked it, got some layups, played good defense, and we win the second quarter 17-14. And, that's a big quarter for Gazelles basketball because that is a meaningful quarter with their same starters and rotation players in that we went and won against the number 2 team in the state. And so you take that and you put that in an evidence bank that we can call on later. And again, just more evidence that we are a good team. Thursday going into Huron. We knew that was going to be a tough battle against a team that has some really good wins here to start the year. And the girls handled that one really, really well. That was just a good, hard-fought basketball game. Like, runs on both sides. It's their turn to go for, maybe a 7 or 8 point run. We stopped them. Now we're going to go on a run of our own. And down the stretch, to see our girls stay calm, collected, poised, and do what they had to do to get out of the Huron Arena with a win. That's a really big win for this season and this point in the season. That says a lot about what we can do in these last 9 games. And then last night, really happy with how the girls competed in the first half. Found a lot of great shots. We were just watching it back, and very easily could have been a tie game at the end of the first quarter. And then you come out, and we hit a big shot to start the second quarter. It's 18-14, and it ends up being 20-17. And so for us to be in there with the number 1 team in the state off of a game, this is the 3rd game in the week. That's awesome to see. And then you could just kind of see we got a little tired from that point on, and transition buckets started to fall a little bit easier for them, made us scramble a little more. That opened up the perimeter. They found a few more shots. And then give credit to Brayden. That's why they're a really good team. When they have those holes, they can expose them and make it rain a little bit.
And it's a Brandon Valley team, just focusing on last night's game, that in the first quarter of last night's game, you guys outscored yourself from last year's game. That was, I know, a very rough game for Yankton on the road against Brandon Valley last year. I think 61-11 was the final score. So you could see just the year-to-year growth in just that first quarter. I saw it myself. Anybody who watched at home saw it. Very, very competitive in that first half. But like you said, the fatigue kind of got to you guys. And you were down an extra player last night. Multi-sport athlete in Berkeley Olson. She was on the road already in Aberdeen for the ESD conference meet for gymnastics. So you were down that player too. So that obviously didn't help you guys in the end. But I think there's a lot, like you said, to build on and be proud of with this team this week.
Yeah. And we're cheering on Berkeley from here, and we understand that when she's going to do duo sports in the same season like that, there's give and take with that. She's going to miss some gymnastics. She's going to miss some basketball. Big weekend for her and the team as far as an ESD competition and getting set up for the state qualification and meet as well. And so, we're cheering her on from Yankton. And yeah, I thought the girls did the most that they could do last night. And it was just good to see, again, another game where we really didn't try and give them too many specific offensive calls or sets. And when they just moved together, it's really fun to see. There's one that sticks out in my mind that it's just great basketball. Flash into the high post, enter to the high post. Eden does a little Laker cut off of the high post. We bounce pass it back and get a nice little layup. Like that's just basketball. And when the girls can go out, play together like that and do that, it's really fun to play as a team. And so to see them start to do some of those things, and again, against the top opponent in the state, that's really exciting, because that's when you're a really tough team to play, is when you're not just getting in predetermined sets and setting a specific screen, because teams can scout that. They can't just scout playing together, having great team chemistry, and just playing really good basketball.
Last night's game, the varsity game, tipped off a little later than was scheduled for. And I feel like that's a great time to switch things to Coach Muth, because the sub-varsity level, go to overtime in the sophomore game, C game, whatever, however you classify it. But going to overtime with Brandon Valley on that one, that was a fun game. And I'll admit, I think I did an hour and 20-minute pregame show last night. I was out of content. I think I called the last minute of that sub-varsity game as well, just to give the people at home an idea of the next generation of Gazelles. So just give us an update on the sub-varsity level, how those girls are doing, because that was pretty fun down the stretch there, going to overtime with Brandon Valley.
Well, at first, I'm just going to say I appreciate you doing that and having that game on early. My parents are watching it from home, and so they got to watch their granddaughter play a little bit during that game. So when I talked to them last night, they were excited and appreciative of you doing that end of that C game. So thank you for that. But back to the game. Yeah, our girls play really hard. Like, not everybody, 8 through 12, our girls play hard. And, And that's something that you can't always teach them. That just has to come from a motor within them. And I think it's fun to watch those kids get out and compete. And we went into halftime with a 20-12 lead with, 8th graders and freshmen in the C game or the sophomore game, whatever, And those girls have played 7 quarters on Thursday night, 7 quarters on Tuesday night, 7 quarters last night. And they got a little gassed in the second half, So we were up, like I said, 20-12, and we kind of hung on just long enough, and they scored a bucket right at 3-4 seconds left before the game ended. And just we weren't able to keep with them in overtime, but our kids played hard. I mean, Isabel Sheldon had a great night again. She plays the first half of that game for us, and she did a nice job. Jaslyn Romero and Mathia Olson and J.D. Kindle and Kinley Wells all did a really nice job against a press, again, being tired and still competing and making good plays. And, yeah, it was fun to watch, and it was one that we were really hoping to hang on to, because that would have been fun to get a win against Brandon. But I told our kids, this is one that we're going to learn from. This is where we got to, next time we play a game, now we've been in this situation, and now we know that we got to keep ourselves calm and find a way to make the plays and get a win at the end.
Yeah, you mentioned how much these girls have played over the last couple of days. Even youthful energy eventually runs out for these young Gazelles as they're playing at the sub-varsity level. But that's, what you say, 21 quarters of basketball for a lot of these girls in the last 4 days. That is a lot to run up and down the court.
Yeah, I told a couple of the girls, I got them a couple little breaks, and I said, hey, this is the bench. Check it out for a little bit. Okay, you're back in. That was long enough.
I remember in our post game on Thursday after Huron, we made a similar comment about Eden Wolfgram because she played the full 32 minutes. I know there's a lot of multi-sport athletes in Yankton, and it's something I talked about with Coach Tyler Schuring when I interviewed him for his award last night as well. The multi-sport athletes, they keep these athletes in shape year-round, and it's a very good program top to bottom kind of across the board at Yankton. So probably keeping these girls in shape a little more with all the action you're getting this week. But
yeah, and that's a big plus for us in Yankton, is having kids be in multiple sports. We are a smaller AA school, so we have to use the numbers that we have, and so that's something that we really focus on, is trying to share our athletes and like he said with Berkeley Olson, trying to work together and a little give and take, and you might not get as much of all of them as you want, but you are all better because we share and make the best of the athletes that we have.
And I want to highlight a couple individual players who impressed me throughout the week. Anytime you play 3 games in 4 days, there's going to be a variety of people that score well or play well, but Eden Wolfgram continues to shine for your team as a junior. Had 16 on Tuesday, 21 points and 7 steals on Thursday, and then 11 points last night to lead the team. I think she's all around a fantastic player, obviously, for you guys.
Yeah, one thing that I think Eden fills a stat sheet, and she's really always going to do that in some way or capacity. But I think one thing, like even in the last 2 weeks, that I've really noticed her just make a conscious effort to take another level up is just her vocal leadership. In practice, I've just noticed it a lot more in the last 2 weeks. Her just being a little more vocal, trying to get our energy up and be involved in that category, which, it really is not her like second nature, just first thing that comes to her mind. And so that's really her taking a conscious effort to say, this is something that I need to add to my kind of, just overall arsenal as a leader, and really taking some initiative to focus on that. And so I've been really proud of her for that, and I think that's led to her continuing to do well. But I think what you also see in these 3 games this week is some other players stepping up and really having some big games as well. And I do think that's a product of her giving them a little bit of confidence and really being vocal with them, moving the ball, and just kind of really starting to recognize that she can play that true point guard role while also still finding some great shots for herself, but that trust continuing to build that, hey, I can move it to my teammates and get the ball back and then go make my play. And I think she's just done a really, really good job of that over the last 2 weeks.
There's a couple more players who have impressed this week that I want to talk about. The first two I'll pair together since they're both freshmen. I think Jordan Kudera, obviously we've talked about her all season, playing very well, had 16 points in the win on Thursday against Huron. But last night, noticed Brenna Elwood coming in that second half in the fourth quarter, and she kind of took over running the offense. I know the situation, there are a lot of different players, not the usual rotations out there, but her confidence on the ball and the way she was able to run the offense really impressed me.
Yeah, I'll start with Brenna and then obviously go into Jordan. But, one thing about Brenna Elwood that you could see all the way back in the summer, and again, we're going to go back to the leadership kind of category. She just naturally is one of the most energetic, enthusiastic, positive leaders that you're going to see in a young girl. And those are just kind of those intangible things that you can build into and help guide as a coach, but you can't necessarily just put it there in a specific athlete. She just has that a little bit in her, and not even a little bit, a lot of it. And it's really good to see her just gain some confidence on the varsity court. I don't care whether that's the first quarter, fourth quarter, anywhere in between. She had a big 3 in the first half to get us back to, I think, an 8-point game and keep us within touch of Brandon Valley. And then down the stretch for her to just command the offense and hit some big shots there. And again, end with 9 points in that game. I'm really proud of her, and she's going to continue to get a lot better. But, when you talk about just like a true point guard that can stop, get people where they need to be, facilitate, and then go and let the game kind of come to her, that's what she does. And so we're really proud of her and really excited for her as she continues to see the confidence grow. And then Jordan Kudera, she's just, again, we'll go back to the summer to now. She's kind of one that just always has been a little bit of a gamer. When we get in between the whistles or tip off to the end of the buzzer, she knows how to score and she can find her way to the rim. She's got a quick release on her shot and has really started to find a great rhythm with that. So she's knocked those in at a high rate. And that makes it tough when you have to respect her on the three-point line and close out hard, but she's also got a quick move that can get to the rim. And so I think that's been collectively a really awesome thing to see. And I'm going to guess you're going to go into September round next. And so I'm going to go back to her on Thursday for Huron, because I thought she did a great job just letting the game come to her. She found spots and openings in the defense, had her feet set, and you saw what she can do when she's in rhythm and hitting well from the outside. And it, again, just opens up the defense a lot, because now there's another player out there that they've got to close out hard to. That opens driving lanes and gaps, and she does a good job getting into the paint and then kicking to teammates as well. And she's one of those players that, you toe the line defensively of, you get 5 fouls, and if you're playing good defense, you're going to use a few of those 5 fouls. And she plays really hard defense, and she is right in your grill. And it is going to lead to some fouls every once in a while, in some games more than others, depending on how the refs are calling it. But she did a great job for us on the ball defensively Thursday night, and even last night. Last night being one of the cases where it ended up with a few more fouls. But she plays really hard on defense, and when she's shooting like that on offense, it's going to be a good thing.
I know I'm running the risk of just breaking down every play on your team at this rate, but there is one more player I want to mention. That's because she's been doing like a little more of the dirty work the last couple games. You even mentioned it when we threw the game on the conference room before today. Norcraski's drawn 3 charges in the last 48 hours for you guys. That's something that maybe was missing a little bit from your team earlier in the season.
Yeah. And I'm going to keep going down this road of, and I talked about it on the radio earlier this morning. I think what we see as coaches from 3:30 to 5:30 or 6 o'clock, all that we want is for the rest of Yankton to get to see that group do what they do well, how we see them in those moments from 3:30. Like, these girls work really, really hard, and they have worked really, really hard for a season and a half now, and they've done it through a lot of junk. and a lot of hard losses, a lot of almost victory, those types of things. And they've continued to work. And so Nora Kraske kind of is the epitome of that. And she just grinds away regardless of if shots are falling, if they're not falling. She's always going to bring it on the defensive end. And you know what? I'm just happy. Last night, the charge, she actually fell on her butt a little bit instead of her head. We kind of made fun of her a little bit before the game. She just kind of planked in her 2 against Huron and just took some hard falls. And we were just joking, like, hey, you can get set and take that thing and just fall on your butt. You're still going to get the call. And so that was a little bit of a softer landing last night, and we like that for the longevity of the season. But she's doing really good things, and she's a phenomenal leader for us.
Yeah, it's not to leave anybody out, but Kelson Wells, Sabrina Kraske, both of them played well off the bench as well. And is there any name I'm forgetting from last night?
I'll throw one more in. Jocelyn Elwood is on a really, really good stretch of games right now, and it has nothing to do with a point total or anything like that. If we go back to O'Gorman, she was a key piece in us breaking the press in the second quarter and getting some running lanes and layups against them. She's played some really good defense. We've kind of been moving her. She's actually kind of been on the inside a little bit more in the last few games, and she's done a great job on some post players. I thought Thursday night against Huron, she took 5 shots. None of them fell, but every single one of them was a phenomenal shot to take. She is not forcing anything. She's letting the offensive game come to her. She gets a lot of girls open through flashing to the high post, screening for them. She got, I think, 3 steals against Huron, somewhere in that realm. She's playing phenomenal basketball right now. And again, it's just another player that the stat line might not necessarily tell that story. But if you just watch basketball enough and you watch her, she's doing a lot of things to really get other players going. And that would be the same story with a Kelson Wells and a Sabrina Kraske as well. And then I'm going to put one more punch in there and shout out. And we're going to go back to Thursday. Huron, our bench, I about got tripped or ran into or like a lot of times with them just jumping out of their chairs, cheering for our team, and just being genuinely excited. And so we've got some really good girls that just genuinely love to see the Gazelles and their teammates succeed. And that's just really fun when it comes together collectively as a team like that. And so we're just going down the shout out list, but Addie Muth is one that she drives that every single day. And there is never a promise for her of any playing time. And she shows up with the exact same attitude every day. And that's just really, really critical. And so when the bench is doing that, to have that leadership and a captain there as well that's willing to fill that role, those things are critical. And they don't get noticed or talked about enough. And so when you have games like that, I just think it's really important to go down that list and make sure that we recognize that every single person put something into that victory.
And for a player like Addie to come in with that mindset consistently and that mentality, that's probably a sign of some pretty good parenting in her life.
I would say so. I think, you got 2 coaches as parents, and they help her keep perspective. And she's just a really good, we actually were talking about an essay she wrote about being an athlete on the way to Huron. And it's just, we won't overshare it, but it's just a really good essay on perspective, what being an athlete means, what you can learn from the sport. And that's why Addie does a great job as a captain. It's just a great example you don't see it a lot. A lot of times if you are a senior and the playing time isn't necessarily there, you're out and you're just going to take your bags and, go home. She does not. She pushes hard every day in practice, makes her teammates better, shows up with a great attitude, and continues to lead regardless of the role. And that's really big in today's sports.
I know we've talked a lot already this morning. There's been 3 games this week. There's a lot to cover. Tuesday against Pierre. We'll keep it a little more brief, but at home against the Governors, what are you expecting on Tuesday?
Anytime you have an EST matchup, you're expecting a hard-fought defensive battle. And especially when you got, Pierre, Huron, Mitchell, those types of games, that's what you're going to get. And so we've got to take pride on the defensive end and make sure that leads to offense. But one thing that was really special about Thursday is I think we unlocked a new version of ourselves. And I thought before the game, I really felt like we knew what our identity was more than ever as far as how we play defense and what that leads to on offense. And after that game, I think even more so, we understand when we are at our best. And that is when full court defense and pressure and chaos allows us to get our hands on the basketball and then go make things happen on offense. And so it's got to be more of the same on Tuesday. We got to bring it to them on the defensive end, take care of that piece first, and then let that create the offense.
I'd like to thank you both for coming in this morning and talking on Huddling with the Herd. I took a little more of your time this morning than we usually try to, but I do appreciate you talking about this week of games.
Yeah, I talked a lot, so get tired of my voice.
Well,
thank you.
Being in radio, you get used to talking a lot. But thank you again, Coach Savvy and Coach Muth, for coming in and talking this morning on Huddling with the Herd. Good luck on Tuesday against Pierre, and then later in the week as well, you got a makeup game against Sioux Falls Roosevelt. So good luck next week in those ones.
Thank you.
That's going to do it for this segment here on Huddling with the Herd. When we come back, we're talking Bucks basketball. We'll hear from the post-game coach interview from Chris Haynes from last night and their game against Brandon Valley. Back in a couple minutes here on KYNT, KYN-TV.
When you make the right decision, it feels good. Like picking the perfect accent rug or choosing a good night's sleep over an all-night crime show binge. It feels really good to make the right insurance decision too. That's why State Farm agent Rhonda Westland is right here in Yankton to help you select the right protection at the right price. Rhonda will make sure you understand your State Farm coverages so you'll know what to expect if the unexpected happens. With State Farm agent Rhonda Westland, it's easy to make the right choice. Just call her. When you want the real deal, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Do you struggle with dry contacts? At Vision Care Associates, we have a great option. Infused contact lenses by Bosch & Lomb. Infused lenses are designed to ensure that your eyes stay hydrated and irritation-free, even after a full day of wear. Our doctors specialize in fitting these lenses for maximum comfort and optimal vision. Schedule your consultation and experience the all-day comfort and crisp, clear vision you deserve.
Vision Care Associates, where the health of your eyes comes first.
What if your next big adventure isn't out there on the road? What if it's already waiting right at home? That kitchen you've been dreaming of, extra room to grow, or the family trip you've pictured long ago. Your home's equity can fuel it all. When your plans become a must, Explorers Credit Union. Built steady, built for us.
Insured by NCUA. Call 800-491-4309 and put your equity to work for you today.
Traveling to Yankton for business or pleasure in 2026? Then book your stay at Yankton's two finest hotels, the Fairfield by Marriott and the Holiday Inn Express. Both are conveniently located to everything in Yankton. Both offer a complimentary hot breakfast and meeting rooms for business travelers. And if you want a great rate and flexible reservation changes, call either hotel direct, the Fairfield by Marriott and the Holiday Inn Express. Two great hotel choices when visiting or arranging rooms for guests to Yankton.
Buying a home isn't just about real estate. It's about investing in yourself. At the Move Group, we believe the best time to buy is when it makes sense for you. Our expert agents put people before transactions, meaning we listen first, provide honest guidance, and help you make a confident decision. No pressure, no gimmicks. Markets change, but the right home is about more than just numbers. It's about finding the right fit for your life and your future. When you're ready, we're here to help. Contact the Move Group today.
Loading the kids in the car, brokering peace in the back seat, mastering the snack handoff without even looking. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with auto owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. We work with independent agents who keep insurance simple, so you can worry about more important things, like figuring out what's growing in that cup holder. That's simple human sense.
Don't gamble. Insure with MT and RC Smith Insurance in Yankton, your independent agent for home, business, auto, life, and bonds. Visit mtrcsmithinsurance.com.
Welcome back here on KYNT and KYN-TV for Huddling with the Herd. Long talk about Yankton Gazelles basketball, but when you have 3 games in a week and 2 of them are against the top 2 teams in the state, there's quite a bit to talk about. But We'll switch to Yankton Bucks basketball now. Only 2 games for them this week, and both of them close matchups. The Bucks fell to the O'Gorman
Looking
Knights
for fuel
on
or
Tuesday,
more? Stop by
44-42
Triple Time Rudy's,
in
your
that
locally
one.
owned convenience store at
Eidson would lead the
17th
Bucks
and
with
Broadway.
15 points in the
At
loss,
Triple Time
followed by
Rudy's, they're proud to
11 from
support the
Jackson
community,
Kudera.
offering fuel discounts to
last
Yankton's
night-
largest employers and backing
Excuse
local
me,
activities.
I forgot to put a stop command in. Peek behind the curtain. I'm good at my job, I promise. Caught me off guard there. My apologies here on KYNT and KYN-TV. But Bucks basketball on last night on Friday, falling to Brandon Valley 52-47. Jackson Kudera 24 points, 6 rebounds for him. Beck Reichen had 7 points and 5 boards. The Bucks did fall to 1-10 on the year, but I'm telling you, between the way Jackson's been playing and the way Jordan's been playing, the Kuderas are kind of taking over Yankton basketball. But great team, great team performance. It's just a couple bounces of the ball going the other way. This is the 3rd straight game, I believe, that's been decided by 5 or less points for the Bucks. I'd have to go back and confirm if it's more than that. I know it's been at least 3 in a row. But we'll hear from head coach Chris Haynes now for the Yankton Bucks. This is from last night's post-game show. It was your post-game coach interview from Rhonda West on State Farm. Let's hear that now on Huddling with the Herd here on KYNT, KYN-TV. Coach Haynes, it feels like last couple games we've been talking about close matchups, a couple 2-point losses back-to-back, Sioux Falls, Jefferson, and O'Gorman, and then 5 points tonight to Brandon Valley. What are just your initial thoughts coming off the sideline?
Brandon's got a good team, and Coach Nelson's teams are always well coached. It's going to be a physical game, and I just thought there was a stretch there in the second half. Can't remember if it was end of the third quarter or somewhere in there where they kind of made a few plays and made a couple of shots, and we had a couple of turnovers and a couple of mistakes there, and they were kind of able to pull away. And I thought that was a key moment. They did it one time in the first half too. So there was just a couple stretches there where we didn't do the things we needed, and Brandon made a couple plays and a couple shots, and we just couldn't overcome those 2 stretches.
Looking at some of the key players that coming into the game, we didn't get a chance to talk for our pregame coach interview today, but Ayu Dang was a guy who was at the top of their score sheets today, and you held him just to 3 buckets, had a couple free throws in there as well. But defensive effort across the board felt like it was good, but like you said, there were a couple of those lapses out there.
Yeah, we had a few breakdowns, which is going to happen every game. We let their lefty shooter get away, especially right at the end of the half. That was a big one where we just left him ball side corner, and kind of a little unfortunate. Tegan kind of tripped there up top, and so then their point guard's going downhill. We're trying to get over and help, but you just can't leave a shooter in the ball side corner like that. So that was unfortunate. And so he got away from us a couple times, but other than that, our guys battled. Again, it wasn't for lack of effort. They're competing hard. We just got to score a little bit better. I mean, we're in the low 40s, and it just leaves you there's no margin for error, because you are going to have some defensive mistakes, and they are going to make some plays and some shots, the other team is. And, I think we got opportunities where we can get into the 50s, low to mid 50s. And if you're in the low to mid 50s, you got a way better chance of winning these types of games. And it's just really hard when you're in the low 40s. So we'll keep working at it.
Couple players I want to touch on here. Owen Eisnes ends up fouling out, but multiple times tonight we saw him jump a passing lane or pick somebody's pocket and go in transition and get a bucket at the other end. That's something that feels like he's done very well all year.
Yeah, he's opportunistic on defense. He's actually longer than he looks, and he's got good quickness, and so he's doing a good job on the defense end for us, and like I said, getting some steals, and we need him to keep that up and keep doing that for us.
Jackson Kudera is the other guy I wanted to talk about. Huge second quarter for him to really get his game going. I think he had 9 in the second quarter. Ends up with, I had him at 24 on the night.
Yeah, Jackson played great. He just played great. Made his shots. Went to the basket. Got to the free throw line. And, that's, as a sophomore, he's stepping up and doing things. And we're second half of the season now, and he played a little bit last year. So he's played enough and has enough experience. So he's, obviously somebody that can score for us, and we need that. Just need some other guys to step up and score around him.
Looking ahead, you got a road trip to Pierre on Tuesday, second longest road trip of the year remaining for you guys. So what are you expecting in that one in a matchup with the Governors?
Yeah, it's always a tough road trip, especially on a Tuesday night. and they got a new coach again, and so they've played a lot more zone than Pierre traditionally has with the new coach, so we're going to have to be ready for that. But the big Terwilliger kid inside, and obviously the Dean kid, the quarterback, is a good point guard for them, and they got a couple of shooters and scorers. So Pierre's a team very similar to us that they probably say, we haven't won as many games as we'd like, but they've been very competitive and in a lot of games. So hopefully we can go up there. And we haven't been on the road in a while. We've been at home the last 5 games. So, we need to get on a bus and be able to take a business-like approach up there and go play well.
This is head coach Chris Haynes of the Yankton Bucks here on KYNT and KYN-TV. The Bucks travel to Pierre on Tuesday for their next game, and then they're on the road against Sioux Falls Roosevelt next Thursday for a makeup from, I believe, 2 weeks ago now. A game was weathered out. So I think it's just because it was so darn cold. I think negative 30 wind chills that day. We're going to go back to break here on KYNT and KYN-TV. When we come back, we're going to hit the mats and talk Yankton Bucks and Gazelles wrestling. Busy week for the Bucks and Gazelles, and a couple of Yankton wrestlers recently hitting 100 career varsity wins. So we'll talk about that when we come back here on KYNT, KYN-TV.
Looking for fuel or more? Stop by Triple Time Rudy's, your locally owned convenience store at 17th and Broadway. At Triple Time Rudy's, they're proud to support the community, offering fuel discounts to Yankton's largest employers and backing local activities and events. Inside, you'll discover regional favorites like Dimmick Cheese and premium meats from the Kaler and Renner lockers. Whether it's a quick snack, a tank of top-quality fuel, or a taste of local goodness, Triple Time Rudy's, fueling your day, fueling the community.
Moving is hard work. This is Deb Speck from Vision Real Estate, and I'd like to show you how I can make moving a little easier. From advice on staging your home, providing moving boxes, and the use of our enclosed courtesy trailer, to the behind-the-scenes social media marketing and attention to detail, you can rest easy knowing that you have an experienced professional working for you. Call me, Deb Speck, at 605-664-5555.
Is it the competition that keeps bringing you back? The long-standing rivalries? Or is it seeing friends again and cheering on your favorite team? At First Dakota, we're here for it all. We appreciate the fans, the players, the coaches and officials, the concessions crew. The shared community experience is part of what makes life here great, and we're here for it. See you at the game. First Dakota National Bank, member FDIC.
Big news for Yankton and the surrounding area. Yankton Medical Clinic is proud to announce the addition of YMC Eye Care Clinic. Dr. Trevor Kindle and Dr. Rockney are now seeing patients for routine eye exams, glasses and contact prescriptions, and emergency eye care for unexpected injuries. As Yankton natives, they're committed to caring for the community they call home. Plus, Dr. Kindle is the area's only local comprehensive ophthalmologist and cataract surgeon. Call 605-655-1830. Third floor of the Pavilion, Yankton Medical Clinic. So much care, so close to home.
Welcome back here on KYNT and KYN-TV. This is Huddling with the Herd. Let's talk Yankton Bucks and Gazelles wrestling now. We'll start with the Bucks. Back on Tuesday, the Bucks swept their triangular with Huron and T area. Chase Platt picked up his 100th career varsity victory that night. He eclipsed the century mark with a pinfall win over Huron in the Bucks' 54-22 victory over the Tigers. Also picking up wins for the Bucks were Brooks Delozier and Zane Portillo. Yankton would defeat T area in their other duel 48-28. Delozier picked up another win at 120 with Ethan Smith at 126, Caden Jansen at 144, Peyton Eustace at 190, Trace Gaskins at 285, Colton Archer at 106, and Edley Amaro at 215, all earning victories as well. Yankton then went on to sweep a quadrangular last night in Lenox. The Bucks would beat Sioux Falls Lincoln 42-42, winning on a tiebreaker. For Yankton, Damian Janish at 113, Zane Portillo at 157, Chase Platt at 165, and Corbin Saylor at 175, each won by pinfall. Yankton would then defeat Sioux Falls Washington in a dominant fashion, 64-11. Nathan Bowman at 150, Portillo again at 157, Saylor at 175, and Peyton Eustace at 190, each winning by pinfall. Brooks Delozier at 120, and Chase Platt again would win by technical fall, Platt at 165. Caden Jansen at 144 and Edley Amaro at 215 each picked up decision victories. And in their third duel of the day, Yankton would defeat Lennox 53-24. Colton Archer, Damian Janish, and Nathan Bowman all won by pinfall for the Bucks. Brooks DeLozier scoring a technical fall. For the Yankton Gazelles, Gazelles Wrestling split their ESD triangular on Tuesday against Huron and T Area. Yankton picked up a 42-12 win over T Area, with Alexis Brendan winning at 120 and Peyton Kite winning at 140 by pinfall. Yankton would then fall to Huron 45-12 in their other duel. On Friday, in their quadrangular at Lennox, Yankton would defeat Sioux Falls Washington 36-15. Chloe Catan would win by pinfall at 115. Yankton would then defeat Lennox 36-9. Lennox would win. Only 2 matches were contested. Lennox won both of them, but due to forfeits, Yankton would win the duel 36-9. And then Sioux Falls Lincoln would defeat Yankton 48-36 in their duel. For the Gazelles, Chloe Catan would get a win at 115. Alexis Brendan won at 120. Sophia Delgado won at 130. Peyton Kite got a win at 140. And Winry Yagi got a win at 145, all via pinfall. The Patriots claimed just 2 of the contested matches on the day. Yankton, Bucks, and Gazelles are back in action today, and they are in action, should be right now. Invitational in Brookings started at 9 a.m. this morning. That's quite a big event up at Brookings, so good luck to the Bucks and Gazelles as they are underway already at Brookings. Did mention heading into the last break, there were 2 Yankton wrestlers who have achieved 100 varsity wins recently. Talked about Chase Platt already, picked that up on Tuesday in Huron. And I believe from the photo I saw of Jacqueline Kite also holding her banner for 100 career wins, that was also at Huron Arena back on Tuesday. So Jacqueline Kite, Chase Platt, both 100 career victories for Yankton High School Wrestling. Congrats to both of them on that achievement. It's going to do it for wrestling. And actually, we're going to switch gears to hockey now. We're going to stick right here for now as Yankton Bucks hockey back in action last night. Their first league game in, I believe, 2 weeks. And it was a 9-0 shutout of the Brandon Valley Ice Cats. Brayden Berkland, 2 goals and 2 assists for him. Jack Pedersen with 2 goals and 1 assist. And then 1 goal each for a plethora of players. Easton Anderson, Jay Sedlacek, Kylan O'Connor, Tucker Rankin, and Jay Sedlacek all scoring goals. And it was a fairly busy night in net for Luke Moeller. He stopped all 23 shots on net from Brandon Valley for the shutout. Yankton does host Watertown this evening. 7 p.m. puck drop, and we got coverage of that on KYN-TV. Myself and Dave Spencer will be on the call beginning at 6:30. This is going to do it for hockey and wrestling here on KYNT and KYN-TV. When we come back, we're talking Gazelles gymnastics to round out your athletics today on Huddling with the Herd, as the Gazelles are at the ESD Conference Championship meet today in Aberdeen. We'll hear from head coach Justin Olson when we come back. This is Huddling with the Herd, KYNT, KYN-TV.
Getting your business noticed starts with the right print. The other day, a customer came into the UPS store Yankton to pick up blueprints we printed for him. While we finished his order, he mentioned needing business cards. At the UPS store, we handle all your printing needs. Stop in and ask about our current print specials. And that customer? We had his new business cards ready the very next business day. Come explore our small business solutions at the UPS store in Yankton.
Save time and shop online at Hy-Vee. Enjoy the same low prices and great deals online as in store. It's fast and easy. Just shop groceries from our app or online. Choose a pickup or delivery time that fits your schedule. And done. Plus, you can create and save grocery lists, browse weekly deals and coupons, and earn fuel savers. Whatever you need, wherever you are, just one click away. Save time and shop online today at Hy-Vee. Some restrictions apply.
Sports injuries can be the result of competitive activities, but can also happen by just participating in leisure activities too. If you're experiencing pain as the result of your chosen activity, consider chiropractic care. I'm Dr. Mackenzie Erlinson with First Chiropractic Centers. We have experienced chiropractors that work with sports injuries every day. Our treatment options are aimed to minimize pain, reduce recovery time, and reduce risk of future injuries. Visit First Chiropractic Centers, making life better, one adjustment at a time.
Welcome back here on KYNT and KYN-TV. This is Huddling with the Herd. Let's talk Yankton Gazelles gymnastics now. Starting with the results from the week, they defeated O'Gorman on Monday in a duel, 129.7 to 127.9 at Power and Grace Gymnastics in Sioux Falls. Berkeley Olson claimed the top spot in the all-around competition, a 33.25. Marissa Birkland was first in both the floor exercise with an 8.9 and the vault with an 8.65, and Ellie Drossman would tie for first on the bars with a pair of O'Gorman athletes at 8.1. The Gazelles are in Aberdeen today for the ESD Conference Championship. Only a couple meets left for the Gazelles before the state tournament. They got the ESD Conference meet today, a makeup duel with Esteline Hendricks in Hendricks, Minnesota. I believe that is on Monday. And then next Saturday, the team qualifying event in Watertown. So busy week coming up for the Gazelles gymnastics program, and I got a chance to talk with head coach Justin Olson of the Yankton Gazelles right around 8 o'clock this morning, an early phone call to record ahead of time as he was going to be getting ready for the conference championship meet by the time we would have had him on over the phone. So this is recorded over the Pizza Ranch phone line here on KYNT and KYN-TV. Let's go to that interview now with head coach Justin Olson of the Yankton Gazelles. Brayden Butler here for Huddling with the Herd, joining me over the Pizza Ranch phone line. Great start already. Joining me over the Pizza Ranch phone line is head coach Justin Olson of the Yankton Gazelles gymnastics squad. Coach Olson, I assume I'm talking to you on site in Aberdeen, considering that is the site for today's ESD conference meet.
You have guessed it correctly. So we came up last night, and we went from some cold weather to some even colder weather up here. Right now, it feels like negative 21. So, thank goodness, we get to compete indoors, so that we just have to get to and from the car. So we're good. We're ready. I'm excited.
Yeah, it's. I think when I stepped in my car this morning, it said it was -3, so I can't imagine negative 21 up where you guys are. But before we get into today's meet, obviously, and then you got another big meet next week, I want to talk about earlier this week. You went on the road against O'Gorman in a duel, and actually it came out with a win over the O'Gorman Knights up in Sioux Falls. So if you could talk a little bit about that duel before we get into the activities this weekend.
Yeah, we got to take the win. First and foremost, that gives the girls some excitement and whatnot. But we'd be naive to say that that was it a great win? Yeah, no. And it's not like in other sports where you're tallying up wins and losses to make sure you solidify your chance to make the SODAC 16 or something like that. It's kind of, our team scores are kind of like, it's kind of like your measuring stick and kind of like your motor that drives you. And we dipped down below 130 for the first time in a very long time. And the girls know what that means. That means that, there's a lot of work to do because, they only take 8 teams to the state meet. And so we have been running at, anywhere from 137 to 134, 132 is in there. So that's kind of where we have been. And we really were looking forward to kind of either meeting that or even eclipsing that mark, which this team is totally capable of doing. And so it kind of took some of the air out of the balloon, a little bit, deflated our teams a little bit. Both sides with JV and varsity kind of struggling a little bit. But you know what? The thing is that it's not over. It happened at this duel, and maybe this is a little bit of an eye-opener for the girls. And so we got a good week of work in. Finally, we didn't have a Monday, Thursday meet or a Tuesday, Thursday meet. So we have a little bit of time to get into the gym to work on some things because this meet that we're talking about now that we're at today, the ESD is a great meet. It's double judged. So we're having 2 judges take a look at their routines and pick them apart. And hopefully we get rewarded for the hard work that they put in all week and all season. Because I think we are a team that is on the brink of something special, but we just have to get out there and just prove it and put everything together. And if we do that, that'll give us the momentum that we need to go right into Monday, which we have a meet, and then, of course, our state qualifier on Saturday, which is the big one.
And the ESD meet, a lot of very, very good gymnastics squads in the ESD tends to sometimes be a bit of a preview of what you might see at the state tournament. So how does this work for you guys as a measuring stick to see where you measure up against some of those top teams?
Well, you hit it right in the head, Brayden, with, Harrisburg, the reigning champs, Mitchell, runner-ups. You have Watertown, who's been scoring some 140s. Lincoln the other night scored a 139, but they're usually up in the 140s. And then you have Brookings, and followed up by, some of those teams like in the other conference, the Metro Conference, like Roosevelt. Roosevelt is kind of rising up from the ashes, and they had a young team, maybe had some injuries. So they're coming up and into the lower 130s and they keep on building. They always do a great job with Kevin over there and coaching them up to get their team ready for what's going to come in the state meet. And so we get to see a lot of those teams like Pierre. That's another team that you can't just close the door on, and it's going to be a great environment. It's going to be a close-knit environment because we don't get the main gym because of a youth wrestling tournament. So we're going to kind of be in closed quarters, tight quarters, but nonetheless, it's going to be rocking. And our girls are excited. We're excited to go up and compete. It's one of those weird things, Brayden, where I would say coaching gymnastics is kind of like a community. Everyone kind of roots for everyone. There's not really like bitter rivals, where you're like, oh my gosh, hope that girl falls off the beam, because everyone works so dang hard and everything's so tough in gymnastics that everyone has that respect for each other, and so it's kind of fun to cheer for each other. Of course, you get a few of them, and that's the whole world of gymnastics, but definitely in South Dakota, we all cheer for each other, and so it's going to be a fun meet today, and we're excited that the girls get a chance to try to gain some qualifying scores and for us to gain that momentum that we need going into next week.
And as you mentioned at the end there, going into next week, looking at next week real quick, on Monday, you got that makeup, the rescheduled duel with Esteline Hendricks at the barn over near Hendricks, Minnesota. And then you said earlier on as well, next Saturday, or later on in the week, you're the qualifiers for the state tournament. So just talk a little bit about what you got going on next week as well, because the season is kind of getting near its end here for gymnastics.
Yeah, so unfortunately, we couldn't make a meet out in Hendricks, which is probably the girls' favorite meet. Good friend Sherry Johnson and her team out there really do a great job of hosting. And it's another intimate setting where it's literally it's in a barn. It's not like a big rustic barn, but it's in like a metal building out in their ranch, and it's kind of a cool environment. So we both coaches from either side said, hey, we need to make sure we get this meet in, not only because it's so fun for the girls, also because it gives the girls another chance, both JV and varsity, to compete. And that's what it's all about, especially when you still maybe have some things to work on before that Saturday comes through. So next week, Monday, Hendricks. Then Saturday, we travel to Watertown. And that's the big one, Brayden. That's where, everything counts. You have five girls that get up and compete on each event and try to build your team score. And if you are one of the top 8, you get to go to the state meet and compete for a state title. And if you're not, you get to sit and watch. And, unfortunately, we've been there last year, and it's not fun. And we told these girls are motivated to make sure they don't have that feeling again. And also, that's another spot where the girls get the chance to qualify for individual competition on Saturday of that state meet week. And they just have to make within the top 40 if they haven't already qualified individually throughout the season.
That was head coach Justin Olson of the Yankton Gazelles here on KYNT and KYN-TV. Good luck to the Gazelles gymnastics team as the ESD Conference Championships begin at noon at Aberdeen Central up in Aberdeen. Of course, their makeup meet with Esteline Hendricks on Monday, and then next Saturday, the state qualifying meet for team qualifiers at Watertown. Busy week. We're getting down to the end of the season for the Gazelles gymnastics team. Good luck to them in all their events coming up. We're going to go to break. When we come back, it'll be time for YHS Nation. We're talking about the one-act play with Georgia Powell. That's coming up in a couple minutes here on KYNT, KYN-TV.
Long day, good day, either way, Yankton Pizza Ranch makes it easy. Our buffet is always ready with fresh pizzas, mouth-watering desserts, and the country's best chicken. No waiting, no stress, just grab a plate and enjoy. So when you need comfort made simple, make today a buffet day at Yankton Pizza Ranch. Buffet every day from 11 to 8.
It's where life tastes better. Surround them up and head her down to the Pizza Ranch.
Whoa, that's good.
Ever have one of those days? your car breaks down, your dog decides your couch is a chew toy, and oh yeah, a tree falls on your roof. Don't worry, Missouri River Associates has you covered. Auto, home, pet mishaps, we're here for all of life's little oops moments. Call 665-6885 for your free quote. Because life happens, and we're ready for it.
At Vision Care Associates, we're always improving our technology for the health of your eyes. With OptoMap dilation-free exams, you get a comprehensive view of your retina without the need for dilation eye drops. It's quick, easy, and best of all, it keeps your day interruption-free. OptoMap captures a detailed image of your eye, helping to detect any problems. No blurriness, no discomfort, just clear, precise results. Book your OptoMap exam now.
Vision Care Associates, where the health of your eyes comes first.
Welcome back here on KYNT and KYN TV. This is Huddling with the Herd. It's time for YHS Nation here on Huddling with the Herd. YHS Nation looking at the activities and events outside of the athletic sphere to give a more shine to them. And today, talking about the one-act play with Georgia Powell, who directs the one-act play for Yankton. And the reason we're talking about that today is that's coming up this week, I believe, or next week. They have a school performance on Wednesday for students and staff, and then the state competition starts on Thursday, February 5th. So it is coming up next week for the one-act play. So let's hear from Georgia Powell now. I believe spoke with Jeff Erickson. Usually it's Scotty Borman, so I believe it's Jeff Erickson, though, this week for YHS Nation. But we'll go to that now with Georgia Powell of the one-act play.
Time now for YHS Nation on Huddling with the Herd. The Herd we are huddling with this morning is the folks who are putting on the one-act play at state competition, but also there will be a local performance coming up on Monday. Jeff Erickson had the opportunity to sit down with play director Georgia Powell.
It's the one-act play. I know you've got a performance for the parents, a performance for the community, and then you're competing. So lay that all out for us, how it works.
Sure. So we just had a dress rehearsal this week on Monday, and then our community performance, which we really want a lot of people there, will be Monday, February 2nd at 7 p.m. And then we're doing a little bake sale along with that. So we'll be selling some cookies and other baked goods before the performance starts. So if people want to come eat some sweets and then watch the show, that would be wonderful.
Sweeten them up and get them in their seats.
Exactly. Have some treats and watch a show. And then we will have our state performance. So that takes place up in Brandon, and we will perform Friday, February 6th at 8:30. I think in the paper there was an accident. It said 6 o'clock performance, but we actually perform at 8:30 p.m. February 6th.
Yeah, there'd be a little bit of a wait if someone went by that.
Well, and I love going up and watching all the shows, so worst case scenario, you just get to watch a couple extra performances.
Okay, so one-act play, it's kind of self-explanatory, but beyond the obvious, how is it different than a regular production someone would come and see?
Sure. Well, yeah, so the obvious is it's just one act. It's much shorter, and so it's important to remember that, too, for the community performance. Since it is shorter, it's a cheaper admission. It's $2. The run time, we can't go the other difference is that it is a competition, and so there are some certain rules in place with that. So we can't go over 45 minutes, and that includes setup and tear down. So as soon as that timer starts, we're putting our whole set up, we're getting everything ready, we're getting into places, and then we perform the show. And then the timer is still going as we clean it all up and take it all off stage, run a broom over it, and make sure everything's off. So if we go over 45 minutes, which we will hopefully not do, then we are disqualified. But as long as we're within 45 minutes, then we should be good to go.
Boy, teamwork is pretty important in a one-act competition, huh?
Yes, it really is. It's not just what's going on stage. There's so much behind the scenes, and we have a wonderful cast and a wonderful crew as well. Stacy Tights is my assistant director, and she does all the stuff with the kids, doing the tech and the costumes. And like you just said, it's just so much teamwork on stage, but behind the scenes too. And so we have to make sure it's a very well-oiled machine to get it all running smoothly.
So how many people total are involved?
Oh, man, I think we have right around, about 35 kids total involved in the show. We have about 25 in the cast, so it gets pretty crowded on stage at times because there is a point where we have everyone on stage at the same time. And then we have a number of kids who are just doing tech, but we also have a lot of kids who do both, where they are listed as part of our tech crew, but they're also in the cast. But I think total we have about 35.
Here's an important question. What is your production about?
Oh, gosh, yeah, that would be important. Our show is called The Drowsy Professor, and it's a comedy, so hopefully funny. We're aiming for that. I personally think we have some very funny tidbits in there that, even though I've watched it so many times, I'm still laughing every time I watch it. It's about a scientist who is very drowsy, as the title implies, and he has made an amazing discovery, but he can't stay awake long enough to really tell anyone about it. And so different groups come in to try to learn about it. There are secret agents. There are some reporters. He has a wife and a secretary who all have important roles in there. And so all these different groups want to learn about it or control it or hide it or steal it. And so there are a lot of very funny things taking place on stage as the story plays out.
So are you feeling ready? What are your expectations for the state performance in Brandon Valley?
I'm feeling really good, and I think the kids are too. I mean, I'm happy we still have over a week until we actually go to state, but knowing that we'll be performing for our family and friends soon, I'm very excited about, because I think once you have an audience there, that kind of shifts it for the kids. They're hearing more than just my laughter, and I think it kind of fires them up a bit and they get excited. And then once we have that community performance, even more. I forgot to mention we actually put on a couple performances for YHS on Wednesday the 4th too, but those are only for the students. But we get to have all these opportunities to have some audiences and get those audience reactions. So I think knowing that we have all those performances coming up, the kids are going to be pretty fired up by the time we perform at state on Friday the 6th.
Could you remind us one more time when the community performance is? We hope people can go out and support and help get you ready.
Of course, yes. That community performance is Monday, February 2nd at 7 p.m., and we will be selling some cookies ahead of time. So if people want to come a little early and grab some treats, that would be great.
All right, Georgia Powell, thank you for joining us. Best wishes.
Thank you so much.
That was Georgia Powell here on YHS Nation for Huddling with the Herd on KYNT and KYN-TV. One-act play community performance on Monday at the Yankton High School, then state competition starts later next week. Good luck to the one-act team on their performance. Hopefully a good performance at the state tournament, or state championships later this coming week. That is going to wrap up Huddling with the Herd today. Huddling with the Herd has been presented by Explorers Credit Union, proudly serving Southeast South Dakota and Northeast Nebraska. Discover the difference at explorerscu.com. That is going to do it for another week of Huddling with the Herd. We'll be back next week, but before we go, let's look at the activities for the coming week. We'll actually start with today. There's a varsity invitational for the debate team at Sioux Falls Jefferson High School. Quad State Honor Band happening today at the University of South Dakota. That was scheduled to begin at 9 a.m. Boys and girls wrestling, a varsity invitational at Brookings High School. That started at 9 a.m. And the ESD conference meet for gymnastics happening today at noon. On Monday, February 2nd, gymnastics has a duel with Esteline Hendricks that was originally scheduled for January 22nd. That'll be at the barn in Hendricks, Minnesota. And the high school one-act play will have their community performance at Yankton High School at 7 p.m. On Tuesday, February 3rd, the high school jazz band has the Palace City Jazz Festival at Mitchell. That's at the Mitchell High School Performing Arts Center. And Bucks and Gazelles basketball take on the Pierre Governors Tuesday evening. The Bucks on the road in Pierre, the Gazelles at home. Both games tip off at 7 p.m. Jumping ahead now to Thursday, February 5th, the one-act play state competition begins at Brandon Valley High School. Yankton Bucks and Gazelles basketball in action as well, rescheduled from the 23rd of January against Sioux Falls Roosevelt. The Bucks on the road at Roosevelt High School, the Gazelles at home next Thursday. The Gazelles play at 6 p.m., the Bucks play at 7 p.m. And then high school one-act play state competition continues Friday, February 6th, and Yankton Gazelles Wrestling has a varsity invitational at Yankton High School, all competing in that event. I'll give you the full list. It's a lot of teams. Bonham, Burke, Canton, Dakota Valley, Dolan, Flandreau, Gregory, Groton area, Hanson, Harrisburg, Huron. Pause. Kings County, that pause was to breathe. Lennox, Madison, Mitchell, Pierre, Rapid City Central, and Stevens. And then Sioux Falls, O'Gorman, Jefferson, Lincoln, Roosevelt, and Washington. Sioux Valley, Siston, Spearfish, T-Area, Tri-Valley, Vermilion, not done yet. Viborg, Hurley, Wagner, Watertown, Webster Area, and West Central. Massive tournament next Friday, February 6th, all at Yankton High School. A lot of athletes, a lot of wrestlers scheduled to compete in that. And then next Saturday, boys wrestling as a varsity invitational, 9 a.m. Saturday morning at Yankton High School. A little shorter list of teams, but competing in that will be Brookings, Dakota Valley, Douglas, Lennox, Mitchell, Pierre, Rapid City, Stevens, O'Gorman, Sioux Falls, Jefferson, Lincoln, and Roosevelt, Spearfish, T-Area, Vermilion, Watertown, and West Central. That is going to do it, though, here on KYNT and KYN-TV. This has been Huddling with the Herd. Go out and enjoy the rest of your Saturday morning into the afternoon and enjoy your weekend as a whole. We'll be back next Saturday right here on KYNT and KYN-TV. I've been Brayden Butler. You've been listening to Huddling with the Herd. Thank you to our sponsors for helping make this broadcast possible. Until next week, stay safe, be good people, and have a great weekend, everybody. We'll talk at you later.
FM 102.1 and AM 1450, KYNT, Yankton.